Hey, welcome back to D&D Subclasses in Real Life, where I become criminally in line enough to answer the question, how good is this D&D subclass in real life? Today we'll be talking about the Celestial Warlock. It's my most played Warlock subclass, and it's pretty straightforward. Before jumping into abilities, we'll start off with the expand spell list. The two cantrips you get from the subclass are Light and Sacred Flame. These are niche. Light is as useful as pulling out your phone and using as flashlight, while Sacred Flame is a wall hack damaging spell. Cure Wounds is pretty useful depending on the situation. It's healing, so when you need it, you need it. Guiding Bolt is a damaging spell, which is heavily situational unless you're playing Minecraft Manhunt in real life. Flaming Sphere is just too much fire for most situations. Probably don't light a birthday cake with this. Lesser Restoration, being able to cure diseases alongside blindness, deafness, and paralysis will elevate you to the world's best doctor by default. Daylight could save you a couple bucks on your electric bill. And Revivify is the most OP spell on this list. Bringing back someone who just died within the last minute quite literally breaks the laws of nature. It cannot be overstated how good that is. Guardian of Faith, Wall of Fire, and Flame Strike are all damaging spells, which again are situational. And I'll just say, if you find damaging spells useful on a day-to-day basis, you should play Dinosaurs in Yu-Gi-Oh! You'll fit right in. And last but not least, Greater Restoration. It's insanely niche compared to Lesser Restoration. Probably stick to that instead. Moving over to abilities, we'll start with Healing Light. At first level, you get the ability to channel Celestial Energy to heal wounds. You have a pool of d6s you can spend to fuel this healing. The number of dice in the pool equals 1, plus your Warlock level. As a bonus action, you can heal one creature you can see within 60 feet of you. Spending dice from the pool, the maximum number of dice you can spend at once equals your Charisma modifier, minimum 1. Roll the die you spend, add them together, and restore a number of hit points equal to the total. Your pool regains all expended dice when you finish a long rest. There are two important things about Healing Light that matter. Number 1, it's an ability, not a spell, and number 2, it's got a 60-foot range. Warlocks only get 2 spell slots for most of their lives, so being able to not waste one to heal someone is great, while the range is useful if you can't get to someone who's hurt. Then there's Radiant Soul. Starting at 6th level, your link to the Celestial allows you to serve as a conduit for radiant energy. You have resistance to radiant damage, and when you cast a spell that deals radiant or fire damage, you can add your Charisma modifier to 1 radiant or fire damage roll of that spell against one of its targets. I don't really like Radiant Soul. It boasts a radiant and fire damage, but I'd argue it isn't necessary when the average person only has 4 HP. As for the radiant damage resistance, it's not the most common real-world damage you could receive. Unless you're the type of person to wear a tinfoil hat, which in that case, smash subscribe if you want the world to stay flat. Talking about good abilities now. Celestial Resistance. Starting at 10th level, you can temporary hit points whenever you finish a short or long rest. These temporary hit points equal your Warlock level, plus your Charisma modifier. Additionally, choose up to 5 creatures you can see at the end of the rest. Those creatures each gain temporary hit points equal to half your Warlock level, plus your Charisma modifier. So why is this ability so good, you might be asking? You just doubled the life of 5 people and yourself. That's a lot of temporary hit points, and the higher level you are, the more temporary hit points you're going to be giving out, which could potentially triple their life or even more. It's so good. So this is what you do. You have your 5 people that you really care about, and after waking up, eating your cereal, you just buff them, and now they're safe for the rest of the day for the most part, unless something really bad happens. But it's your way of either saying, hey, you're not going to die, even if I'm not there. Or, you're not going to die, and even if you do somehow die, I just revive you. And finally, their capstone ability, Searing Vengeance. Starting at 14th level, the radiant energy you channel allows you to resist death. When you have to make a death saving throw at the start of your turn, you can instead spring back to your feet with a burst of radiant energy. You regain hit points equal to half your hit point maximum, and then you can stand up if you choose to. Each creature of your choice that is within 30 feet of you takes radiant damage equal to 2d8 plus your Charisma modifier and is blinded until the end of the current turn. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Wow. That was quite the capstone ability. So, not only do you come back to life once a day, if you choose to, you could also just nuke everyone within 30 feet of you if you want to. For reference, you can one-shot a black bear, potentially, right? If you roll really high on the 2d8, dude's gone. Like, not to mention normal people, they're gone as well. And I think this is the best form of a damaging ability, or spell, for that matter. Because it only happens when you die, so something had to have gone so bad that now you're dead and you come back to life and now you can just nuke those people. So what do we have now that we've reviewed every single thing about the Celestial Warlock? Well, we're left with a pretty unique Warlock. Because this is something that it didn't have before, which is the healing, the revival, the buffing, the curing of conditions that people suffer with, right? Paralysis, deafness, blindness, and all that. It's a very powerful subclass. And when you put everything together, right, you have the Warlock's ability to spam spells throughout a day if they really want to. And that includes going invisible, teleporting, scrying on people. It comes together in a beautiful package, and you can live your fantasy of being the world's best protector. If you want to. You know, you could just stick to like the base Warlock stuff if you want to do some shady shit. But this gives you the option to go a different direction and become like a caretaker for people, essentially. And in conclusion, here's your ticket. Hit the floor and kick it. No sense sitting this one out, yo. Don't be tardy. Join the Poke Party. Time for the Poke Party dance.